Hello, welcome to today's speaker series. My name is Trent Grable, as normal. Today we are joined by Alan Teo, and he's going to tell us, like always, what he does and how in the world he got there. Alan, welcome today.
Welcome, pleasure. Thank you very much.
What do you do?
What do I do? Okay, this reminds me of the line from the movie Office Space. You know, what would you say you do here? So I'm an economic developer, which means I really work at the intersection between government and business, working on behalf of the community, Kosciuszko County, to really help grow business at every stage. So it means the analogy I like to use is kind of like at the high school dance. I mean, I got the guys over here, the girls over here, you know, and you got to get around the dance floor and see what happens. But it really means, day in and day out, it's being responsive to, understanding what the needs are, the problems, the challenges of business, understanding how to build on the community's asset base. And really, it's about creating prosperity, creating wealth in the community, so it never ends. And it really means running a small business and looking at how to grow it over time with that kind of a mindset.
So you're kind of like eHarmony for businesses.
I've been called worse.
All right. So how in the world did you get there?
It reminds me of this is like the Talking Heads song, you know, how did I get here?
Yep.
So how did I get here? No, shameless plug, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for actually my grandparents moving to Fort Wayne from Puerto Rico in like late 40s, early 50s. And my grandfather came here to study chemical engineering. And I think he was an athlete, student athlete here at one of the teams, maybe fencing. He was big into fencing and track. But, for him, I literally wouldn't be here in Fort Wayne. But how did I get into economic development? I mean, I said before, there's no degree in economic development. I think you can fact check me on that. There's no degree. So we all come from somewhere. And it really comes from just having that mindset of wanting to work with people, with communities, with business leaders, and helping to solve problems. So it's very much a customer service mindset. It's a creativity, a curiosity of wanting to keep moving forward, looking forward to what's next. For me, what that meant is I went to school as an undergrad, wanting to work in the foreign service. Go work in an embassy somewhere. That go see the world kind of thing. It ended up after college just coming home and ended up earning a master's degree in public administration. Learned about economic development as a field, of how people had been working in Indiana, here in Fort Wayne even, in economic development to help make this area better, to help companies grow, help recruit companies here. And lucked into a job working with a state level organization, the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. Got a phone call on a Monday from now a dear friend and mentor, John Myers. Hey, we've got a spot open. Got to start next Monday. It's like, all right, we'll make it happen. So sometimes in economic development, you do have to move quickly, as my career start shows. But really worked with IEDC, got to know the field, got to know this region, and then was able to go join the Whitley County EDC as their executive for about 7.5 years. And from Whitley County, did some great things there. Happy to talk more about that. Was able to join the regional partnership, which now works in 11 counties in our region. Do some great work there. Met some great folks along the way there. I helped them in some small way move their effort forward. Was able to work with a private organization, Michael Kinder and Sons. Actually renovated this building we're in today. They did, and helped them get really involved into consulting and development work, helping go find projects and help their clients, find locations, find buildings, find incentives. But then, through a couple of projects, worked on the Warsaw area. I was strongly encouraged by the mayor of Warsaw and some others to look at helping join KEDCO, the Kosciuszko Economic Development Corporation, now as their CEO. So as of a week and a half ago, I'm at KEDCO, and I'm going to play that card that if I don't have the answer to something, it's because I'm a new guy. But excited about the road ahead, what we have in front of us at KEDCO, and just to be here in this region right now, with great things are happening at Tech and elsewhere, be part of that whole thing.
How long does that new card usually last?
Well, I've been told you can play it for about 6 months.
Okay, good to know.
If I could figure out in the first 3 to 6 months, how to really help this organization get ready for the next level. For us, I think at KEDCO, it's really getting around the medical device sector. We're already strong in med device, but
Definitely.
There's an organization called OrthoWorks that we're very lucky to have OrthoWorks in the community, representing the med device sector, and really look at how does KEDCO and OrthoWorks just work hand in glove,
Mhm.
and then take that and do the same thing in the agribusiness sector. There's an organization called AgriNovus that works statewide on agribusiness. Say, hey, how can Kosciuszko County be recognized for the leadership role it already has
Mhm.
in agribusiness, and how can KEDCO help to make that happen? So again, getting back to what is economic development, right? It's a lot of times stepping in, all these people working in business and in government and in higher education have day jobs. So stepping in, what's the magic? Let's get this dance started here
Mhm. Yep.
and figure out what we can do.
So both in your career and in your personal career path, and then what you do in your
Right.
career, you look for those value-adding opportunities,
Mhm.
and then you have to execute on them relatively quickly at times to make sure that
Exactly.
value is captured.
Exactly.
What's your thought process, or what kind of criteria do you look for to say that is worth pursuing
Mhm.
versus that's not really worth my time?
So like to look at where the strengths, where the assets we build on, where are the opportunities, where there's a good fit for the community, for the business owner, and again, how do we make sure we're finding and delivering, if it's delivering referrals, helping people find a building, find a site, find workforce partners, just whatever the question is,
Mhm.
just making really good high quality connections, and being willing to say, hey, if we can't help, let's help get to a quick no instead of kind of a slow maybe. Right?
Yeah.
I don't want to drag
Put 'em out
it
of their
along.
misery,
I don't
yeah.
want to it's going to hurt if I don't, help this company or that company.
Mhm.
But if there's something there, we got to be tenacious about it. Got to keep working at it until we help them get launched. And ultimately, what you get is this is a customer service business. It's help people solve problems.
Mhm.
You're delivering on what you promise. And ultimately then creating, a referral network of people who've had a good experience working with you, and that they're willing to then, put a good word in for you down the way somewhere.
How do you determine what either an individual or an organization or a region is good at?
Mhm.
And then how do you have conversations that might not be as pleasant? Either telling them, hey, I don't think you're as good at this as you think you are, or hey, I think you really have a talent here. Forego these things that you are focusing on and focus on this instead.
Sure. So one of the things I've noticed in economic development is everybody falls back on the platitudes of the superlatives of we've got a great workforce and a great quality of
Yeah.
life and a great business climate and just great. It's great everywhere.
It's great everything,
It's like
yeah.
80% of us think we're above average drivers, right? So what does that really mean, right? And
Yeah.
so that's where I think we have to get to know the community leaders, get to know the business leaders, and understand why does the area work for them?
Mm.
And okay, how do you then tell the story? So for an area like Warsaw or Kosciuszko County, hey, we've got a great supply chain for medical
Mhm.
devices.
Definitely.
We've got a great workforce for them. We can point to specific programs here at Indiana Tech, for example,
Mhm.
that help to feed that talent pipeline.
Mhm.
That we have companies that are world leaders, at every stage of business, in this area. And so being able to really tell that story, and then I think you can help the community and the business leader kind of figure out, kind of self-select
Mhm.
if it's not a good fit. Not that we're going to hit them on the head and say you shouldn't do this or shouldn't do that, or this is what you got to do.
Mhm.
Got to avoid the critical parent, right?
Yeah.
We got to help people say, hey, here's the vision of what we could do,
Yeah.
or we could be if we work together.
Mhm.
Even something as simple as, what if we work together across the US 30 corridor to market what we have for medical device for that industry?
Yeah.
It's a supply chain that's at least up and down 30 corridor from Warsaw to Fort Wayne, and people that work in the industry think a lot bigger than that even.
Mhm.
So okay, that's the carrot. The stick, I guess, is hey, if we're not going to take care of building and nurturing and cultivating that, there's other places in the country working just as hard
Mhm.
to get our companies to look at growing there instead.
Yeah.
So that's hey, we got to stay ahead,
Mhm.
but it's not it's not about some kind of popularity contest. It's because these industries are evolving,
Mhm.
the communities are growing, and we owe it to, I think, step in and figure out how to really make sure we're setting ourselves apart from others.
Yeah.
And again, not just with the superlatives of great and whatever,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that it's actually, hey, here's a real story of the things that are happening, And don't take my word for it. I'm a hired spokesperson. But here's really what's going on. I mean, as a real small, for example, I was so happy to learn the Warsaw school system for Manufacturing Week next month is sending every 8th grader through I think 5 or 6 different companies to go visit and see firsthand what's happening. Most of the companies are visiting are medical device related, but that's more than 1,000 8th graders getting to see firsthand what's happening in that industry sector.
Getting to know what's going on in their community.
That's not, hey, take my word for it. We really have a great school system. That's like, look, these guys figured out something really cool and innovative between the school system, OrthoWorks, and their interns they had, just coming up with something new and different and a way to not only do it once, but keep it going year to year.
Yeah. So that's like saying, show me, don't tell me.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So there are definitely some similarities there between organization or a regional brand, which, like you said, if you can replace your name with someone else's name and it still describes that, it's probably not your niche, right? How would you say, using the same kind of methodology or thought process, people or even our students could start developing their own little personal niche or professional niche in whatever industry they're going into?
Sure. I think you got to ask questions. I think you got to be curious. And this actually goes back to something I saw, of course, on Twitter a week or two ago. Steve Jobs, saying, what does it take? Is people just don't ask questions enough or often enough. They don't ask for help. If I encourage students, anybody in the tech family, just ask a lot of questions, ask for help, get involved. This is an area in our part of Indiana where people can get engaged easily. You have to put the effort in, though, to get beyond just knowing somebody and seeing them at all the events. Say, hey, let's find something to work on together. Or actually, even better, bring something, right?
Yeah.
Say, hey, I've got something. I think I found a problem to work on together. And here's what I'm going to do to help contribute. In economic development space where I work, you got a lot of organizations where it's a small nonprofit, limited budget, kind of here's what we do, right? It's pretty much, it's in a box. So if you can bring something that's different or that you see as an opportunity either to help the ED organization or to start a business, grow a business, I mean, it's blue sky. I mean, it's all kinds of opportunities. And that's where I've really enjoyed, kind of go back to the Whitley County case study. We started there, we had 2.5 people. By the time I left there, we had 8 people. We had people working in small business coaching. A guy you may know named Steve Franks was involved. So but again, being one to say, hey, let's work together and we'll figure out what that looks like long term. We had people working in agribusiness, marketing, operations, and downtown kind of Main Street efforts. We brought the Leadership Academy in Whitley County under the EDC umbrella. I mean, just be willing to say or able to say, what are the opportunities we see out there, and let's look at this as a business that we're going to grow it and figure out how to, raise the money to hire the staff to offer the programs and make sure that people know what we're about by, again, what we're doing.
So you've worked from cities from big as Fort Wayne to Columbia City, right? And there's a little bit of a size difference there between those two cities. Minor difference. So what are the biggest differences in your opinion from building any kind of brand or business or expertise in a smaller city compared to a larger city?
So my roles were different in those different markets. So in the Fort Wayne area where I was involved with the partnership, it was really higher altitude, not focused as much hands-on day-to-day working in the community. So the difference I've seen is when you're working in Columbia City or Warsaw, kind of as on behalf of Whitley County or Kosciuszko County, you're kind of grassroots, rolling up your sleeves, working at the ground level. So what I really enjoyed and what I continue to enjoy is being able to work with peers, if it's other nonprofit leaders, elected officials, business leaders, and figure out how are we going to solve problems in this community. So I think you see the same thing here in Fort Wayne. A lot of people working really hard to create new opportunities here at the local level. And then again, it's just at the regional level, a little bit different set of opportunities to work on together. But where I think my passion is really towards working with the local communities, local business leaders, and just having an ongoing, hey, all right, what's today's issue we're going to work on? And then 3 months from now, we'll find something else to work on. Just keep doing things, see what happens.
Keep doing things.
Do some more things.
Yep. So what suggestions would you give to anyone, but particularly our students who are looking for what value they can bring? How can they test or experiment or try things to say, is that valuable to anybody?
Sure. Well, I think you got to go out and talk to people and find out. Get that voice of the customer feedback. And actually, shameless plug, the economic developers out there at our local economic organizations can help you find people to talk to. I mean, they know a lot of people in the community, but they can also help you find, if you need to talk to certain people from certain industries, certain kinds of companies, certain kind of entities in the community. The economic organizations can serve as that front door for you, even just to get your kind of your first start. I think I get the impression that there's this, the founders of Instagram left.
They just left.
A lot of us probably think that, well, they knew from day one, they had all the answers, they had it all figured out. No, that's not the case at all. They're just willing to keep trying things every day, do something different. So I guess if I could, any words I could share with folks at any point in their journeys or career journeys, traditional students, non-traditional students, nobody has all the answers. So again, just ask a lot of questions, keep at it, and don't give up. I think, again, the Instagram example, I heard on a podcast, one of the founders talking about how his inspiration for that company was, going to Italy on like maybe like a student exchange or study abroad, and he had this really fancy camera, and whoever he was with, took that away and gave him this really cheap kind of Chinese camera called a Holga, I think it's called. And so you just had to take these kind of generic pictures and do some things with filters to try to compensate for the fact you didn't have this SLR, like, $1,000 camera. And so that really what came into Instagram was, let's make what was in basic iPhone pictures look good by using filters, right? But then create community around it by posting the pictures online. So it wasn't something like they knew from day one what that would look like, or that people would buy into that, just the concept, but they tried a few things along the way. I'm forgetting a few details. And then all of a sudden it's an overnight success, right?
Yeah. So everybody knows about it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So when we're looking at our students' ability to add value, right? So you're talking about economic value as a networker and a problem solver and a value adder. If you were building your team again from the ground up, what kind of skill sets would you be looking for? What kind of experiences would you be looking for? Anything of that nature?
Okay. Yeah. Well, what I need going forward is I do need to build a team. So folks are looking. We got some great people already in place, staff and board level at KEDCO, but we'll need to build a team, and it's going to be people that are willing to, bring, know how to not solve problems. It's cliche, right?
Yeah.
But know kind of how to go ask questions, how to figure things out. So critical thinking, online kind of web skills, technology skills. Know how to go look for new technologies. Hey, if we don't have a CRM, let's quickly figure out how to get one online. If we need to make some website updates, like go to here with our website. If we need to launch an Instagram, get a web YouTube channel, people that can help solve those problems, and that's just like by due course. And then we'll figure out other things to work on. Because once we figure those things out, it's like there's going to be other opportunities we would find along the way. Certainly some business kind of background of, what are the things you look for in working in business? How do you work with business leaders, interact with elected officials? So having some composure, some
emotional intelligence, maybe
a comfort level. Working with, public speaking, working with groups of people, leading, being part of committees. I think so. Leading committees. We all want to be leaders, right? We got a lot of hard chargers, but sometimes it's being that first follower, right? It's not being a leader, but the person that follows and helps make things happen and helps make things possible. So it's really, it's coming out of a school like tech, having some hard skills around technology, around business skills, but also around the soft skills, more liberal arts, my background, of just critical thinking and problem solving.
How would they either gain the skill or show on their resume that they are a problem solver, right? Because it's easy to say, oh, I'm a problem solver, or I'm a leader, or whatever. It's harder to show that. Right. So what would you be looking for if you were looking for that on the resume?
Yeah, I'm looking for someone who called me and asked, like, hey, what are some problems you want to solve? or how.
That's easy enough,
Tell
right?
me, tell me more about your organization, what
Yeah.
you're working on. I'm looking for people who've, taken on internships,
Mhm.
or even just a short week long externship.
Mhm.
Doesn't have to be a full blown unpaid internship. It could be just a quick externship experience, shadowing, working on student projects.
Mhm.
Having a part time job, showing that I can manage multiple assignments, multiple responsibilities.
Mhm.
I know a lot of times having a part time job is not by choice, right? It's because you had to have something, but
Yep.
Still, it shows you got through it. You got resilience. You'll stick with something, and that hey, it's important for me to be able to get my degree, and be able to make it financially. So
Mhm.
I worked through it.
Yep. So you're a fan of side hustles.
I am.
You want to talk real quick on what benefit you can see through those side hustles, either as a growing opportunity or
Sure.
as a resume builder
Yep.
in itself.
So my biggest side hustle, in small s, small h, right, is I actually have a side career in the Navy Reserve as a reserve officer in the Supply Corps. So something where I can see the world completely different working as a naval officer
Mhm.
a couple of weeks a year on weekends than what I see in my day job, working for a nonprofit. So I enjoy having something like that. Think back to for the 4-hour work week with Tim Ferriss called
Yep.
Muse, right?
Yep.
Where you just have something where you get inspiration, a different way of looking at things.
Mhm.
But I really think, and that's where I look for, where can you go find inspiration, find ideas, work out, little small projects, and find things you could bring back to your
Mhm.
your main responsibilities.
Definitely.
And ideally, you find things you can bring back, and work into your day job,
Mhm.
and find value, right?
Definitely.
So that's where I look for. But certainly, kind of tying a bow around all of it. I mean, it's really it's a networking economy, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And it's about building your network of people you've worked with, experiences you've had, relationships you have that you continue to draw on over time, wherever you're at.
Mhm.
If it's in college, in school, if it's working a side job, if it's as you go through your career, just building that network of people and just that portfolio, that background of experiences.
Mhm. Excellent. Well, my favorite time of the show, which is rapid fire questions. So
All right,
hopefully if you
questions.
saw Steve's,
I
you know what to
didn't.
expect.
So
We're going to give you rapid fire questions. You just tell us the first thing that comes to your mind, no matter how ridiculous or corny or marvelous
it's
it
gonna be
might sound.
interesting.
All right, you ready?
Always ready.
All right, ready. All right, complete the phrase. When I dance, I look like.
Just a complete fool.
All right, appreciate the honesty. What was your favorite book growing up?
What stage? Okay, so Ferdinand the Bull is still a favorite.
Mm.
The Lorax, we're going way back now.
It's like 5 years ago, maybe.
I still love those. So growing up, but then I got into like Tom Clancy books for a while.
Oh, okay.
So that
Little
whole
Rainbow
like
Six.
Jack Ryan
Yeah.
kind of thing. Then I got into Kurt Vonnegut books in a big way. So this has kind of stuck with me. That kind of like Troublemaker,
Mhm.
Holden Caulfield, kind of thing. And I think that's probably stuck with me. And now it's all business books.
Mhm.
So anyway, that's not growing up though.
That's all right. You're always growing up, right? Describe yourself as a college student in 3 words.
That's not one of the words. Overextended. Is that one word or 2?
Judges.
That's 2.
Well, whatever. Yeah. 2.
Probably overextended, smarty pants, leader. Just trying to do a lot
Mhm.
and be everywhere and always kind of be, hey, I want to be in charge of things.
Describe yourself as a leader in 3 words.
Well, there you go. So I think about on Gallup strengths, one of my top strengths is ideation.
Yeah.
So when it comes to leading, I look for connectivity, I look for complexity and creativity. So when I bring that to my leadership is looking for how to think way outside the box, bring people together, and move forward to something that's probably around the corner and nobody else can see.
Mhm.
So trying to bring people with me.
Milkshakes or smoothies?
Milkshakes.
What is one of your bucket list items?
One of my bucket list items, get my pilot's license.
Oh, okay.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But I do have a list. So, and actually, I'm close to being in like my last year before I turned 40. So I'm in that, like, I want to get to one of those before I turn 40.
Mhm.
So I got to think of which one to do.
Maybe the pilot's license.
That could be.
Yeah.
So,
Strangest thing you've ever eaten?
I'm pretty vanilla in my. That's a hard one. Wow, strangest thing I've ever eaten.
Any alligators?
No,
Any
no alligators.
tarantulas?
I mean, sushi was like a big deal for me. Going back 10 years or so, and it's like, oh, let's all try sushi. Um, Carpaccio was kind of like a real outside the box thing for me.
All right.
When I had a chance to visit Europe a number of times. My mom and stepdad lived in Europe for about 4 or 5 years, so I had a chance to visit. And so, yeah, carpaccio. If you haven't tried it, it's just a little outside the box.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise, if I'm being honest.
Best piece of advice you've ever received?
So the first thing comes to mind: make no small plans. It's just sort of this mindset of just keep growing, keep planning, keep working at it,
Mhm.
and just don't give up.
What is your greatest achievement?
Wow. So the look back for me, and this is sort of like as I almost get into 40, is really, being able to juggle. Being a husband, dad, being executive in the economic world, just being able to achieve all that, that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
And that's all just me. I know what I've done that's made a little bit of an impact here and there, like Whitley County and
Mhm.
North Indiana, elsewhere. But even just being able to do all that, have a really, really enjoyable career while being able to also be a husband and a father, it's just been so cool.
And what would be one piece of advice you'd give to our students, either trying to do what you do or
Yeah.
in life in general?
It's a long road. Just don't be. If you could just take a long view and just be patient and to work it out. That you got plenty of time. It'd be hard. I could write a book about all the things I've done. I'm not even 40 yet.
And you still might.
It's a long road, and just be patient and stick with it. Don't give up, but also, you got plenty of time to get through what you want to do and what you want to accomplish and what you want to experience. And just make sure, be patient with it, but also don't miss the opportunity. Make sure you do make an impact and don't give up on any day. So there's a company over in Winter Lake called Mud Love.
I love, yeah.
Makes bracelets right there in Warsaw. I got the one called today because if I've got like an Achilles heel, sometimes I'll be like, yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. Like I'll put things off,
Mhm.
and it's like this is my reminder. Like don't give up, don't shortchange any day. So
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Alan.
pleasure. Thanks for the invitation.
Appreciate you joining us today. And again, we'll see you next week.